And hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Alright, so today I'm going to show you all how to install Linux. One of my friends has finally moved over to Linux Mint and I'm so happy. So this tutorial is going to show you how to install Linux Mint onto your computer from a USB and I'll show you how to dual boot in a way, but you know. Now this will also work mainly somewhat for Ubuntu and similar Linux distributions, but it will be focused on Linux Mint specifically. But anyways, let's get started. So if you want to install Linux Mint, you can literally just Google Linux Mint, and then you can just skip any of this and you can go to download. And here you can pick your flavor. Now there are 4 flavors to choose from, or kind of 3.5 actually. So first off, you have Cinnamon. Cinnamon is the most popular version of Linux Mint, and it, in my personal opinion, is just the best. I would recommend Cinnamon. I'm going to install Cinnamon, so I would recommend this one because if you're going from Windows to Linux, Cinnamon is perfect for you because it's going to make the transition super easy since it's such a Windows interface it gives you. Although if you're running a very weak computer, one that's not really, let's say it has less than 1 gig RAM, I would recommend XFCE because Cinnamon uses about 800 megabytes and XFCE uses about 300 megabytes on average. Although you'll be losing out on some features if you use XFCE and not Cinnamon, because Cinnamon is very feature rich, while XFCE is very lightweight but doesn't have that many features. And then there's Mate or Mate. A lot of people say it's called Mate, so I'm just going to say Mate, whatever. So this is basically the quite stable version, quite beautiful. It can be very beautiful, but you need to do a lot of customization to get it to look perfectly beautiful. But it can look even better than Cinnamon, and it can have a better feel. Although I have used Mate in the past and I have struggled quite a bit using it, because if you install things such as Wine, which is something very common to install if you have Linux, you can very easily break the desktop environment. So I wouldn't recommend Mate in any situation actually, unless you just want your desktop to look super beautiful. Then I'd recommend Mate. If you need something that will be super fast, I'd say XFCE, and if you want something that is close to Windows and super easy to use, I'd say Cinnamon. Because so far Cinnamon has been feeling the most stable to me. And then there is LMDE, but XFCE is the most stable though. Then there's LMDE, which stands for Linux Mint Debian Edition. It's basically if Ubuntu were to die out, this would be their backup. You can use this. It comes with Cinnamon already installed, so it's default Cinnamon. That's what's 3.5. But basically it's 100%, I think 100% Debian based and not Ubuntu at all. So yeah, you can go for this if you want to like not have any connection to Ubuntu. I wouldn't recommend it if you're new. If you're not new, then definitely you can go for it, but I'd go for Cinnamon. So I'm going to click on Cinnamon to get it. And as you can see, it's 1.8 gigs of size. And then you can choose where you are. I am right here in South Africa, so I can choose any of these 3. I like to go for University of Free State or Internet Solutions. You can just say open in, not a new window, not that it's going to matter. But anyways, then if you go Control J, then here it is downloading. As you can see, mine says 1 because I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to say cancel. You should not say cancel though, you should keep on downloading. Okay, and then I'm going to boot into Windows so I can show you how to install it. So now that I'm on Windows, first thing we need to do is we need to install or download Rufus at rufus.ie. You can also use Universal USB Installer, but I found that it's less likely to actually boot the system if you use UUI or Universal USB Installer instead of Rufus. So I would rather recommend you use Rufus. Just click on the first link. It's like 1 megabyte, nothing to worry about. just gonna start and it's gonna finish. Now for the installation part, you need a little bit of internet access. Not a lot. We can actually just close there now. Now I have a USB with me. I recommend you also have a USB with you if you want to continue. I'm gonna plug mine in and then we can start. So let's just wait, and there's my USB. Your USB should be empty, or everything inside of it should be backed up, because it is going to be formatted. So then we can get the Rufus to start up, and then we can just wait a second. Yes. And here, do you want to allow Rufus to check? Yeah, allow it to check for online updates, because that's always the best to do. Here it will automatically select the USB. If you have multiple USBs in, select the right one by clicking here. Here you can just select you don't have to click anything here. Here you can just select the ISO, and then let's see, we can go to the documents, and I want Linux Mint, and then you can just say start. Everything can leave the same. You just say start, you say yeah, it's fine, and it's going to say, ask you this. You say DD image mode, not ISO, DD. Okay, then it's going to warn you again, and then it's going to start installing it. Until the pop-up here arrives, you should keep your internet connected for in case it needs to download something. So once it says like writing image, I believe you can just disconnect your internet. For example, I'm going to do that right now because I hate having Windows connecting to the internet. And yeah, then once I'm finished, it shouldn't take too long. It probably take like 10 minutes. Then I will get back to you. Alright, so once it has finished with this, all you have to do is say close, go to your Windows thingy, say power, and then you want to say restart. And then we're going to mess a little bit with the BIOS, but don't be scared. So I'm just going to end the video, and then I'm going to reboot and show you what to do. Alright, so now, as you can see, here's everything. Now my USB is still connected. Now I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say reboot or restart. Now I already have Linux installed, so I'm not going to use it on this computer. I'm going to show you how to do it through a virtual machine. But I'm going to show you how to get to that in case you're struggling. Because I know I've gone through my fair share of installing Linux, and it is difficult. So then you can just spam F2, F1, F8 or F12. Sometimes it's also escape or F11. If you have a password, you can insert it. I do have a password though. Okay, and here we go. Now, where you want to be is you want to be right there where it says boot. So you just press the arrow keys to get there. And then you have your UEFI mode, which I would recommend you have. And secure boot should preferably be enabled, but I don't think it's necessary. Now, it should say USB HDD. If it's like mine and it doesn't display anything, it may mean that it cannot find the ISO it's supposed to boot. But first, put USB at the top here. So you can, using F5 and F6, as it says here, you can move things up and down. So if I go F5, I can move that down. If I go F6, I can move that up. But that's my Linux file, and I like it there. But let's say it's not on the USB. You can't see it there. Then what you want to do is you want to go to Security. You want to go to Select an UEFI file as trusted for executing. You want to go to USB 0 or USB 1 or whatever USB, EFI, boot, and here you might want to play around with these and just add a bunch of them, or even add all 3 of them until you get it to boot up. Usually MMX or grub works perfectly fine, but sometimes you need boot as well. Now I'm going to boot into normal Linux and boot up a virtual machine so I can show you how the installation process works. Alright, so you would see the same as this, and you can just press enter or just leave it and it will automatically press enter for you. Now I'm just going to go here and I'm going to close that. I'm going to make this full screen so it will look the same on basically both of our screens. Now a thing you may want to note is when you boot up Linux Mint 20, text may pop up at the beginning of the screen saying it failed to load something or something like that. Just don't worry about it. It's going to probably boot up in anyways. Mine does that every time I boot up. It fails to load something and it boots up perfectly fine afterwards anyways. So it just does that. I would recommend just leave it alone. Alright, here we go. Now where's my mouse? Why can't I see my mouse? You should be able to see your mouse though. But anyways, so let's say you want to dual boot, then you want to go to gparted and you want to run it because you need to make a partition if you do want to dual boot. If you've already made a partition in Windows, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to make a partition here then. Now my PC will say everything is unallocated, but for you, you should have allocations. Now I would take the main partition, like the Windows partition, and I can't see my mouse. I don't have an idea where my mouse is. But then I'd basically go resize / move, and I would resize it to create a big enough partition. Then once you make sure the whole thing works and stuff like that, you can go to install Linux Mint. But yeah, you can just go to install Linux Mint. If you can't see your mouse, however, I recommend you go re-download Linux Mint. But I can't see my mouse because I'm on a virtual machine, and virtual machines are not the same as real computers, unfortunately. Come on, give my mouse back. Okay, there. And if I go here to the side, that should be continue. Yes, okay. Then you can just choose your language and say continue. Anyway, then here you can choose your keyboard. I use a English US keyboard layout, which is QWERTY. So the first few letters on your keyboard will be Q, W, E, R, T if you have QWERTY. If you have something else, then I would recommend you maybe just search on what you have or check what the first few letters are. Then install multimedia codecs. Very important, I would check that box. So here there should be more than 2 options instead of something else. But if you do not have the option to dual boot, because there should be a dual boot option, then I would recommend just going something else and then selecting the partition that is empty. But I'm going to say erase entire disk and just install now. Alright, then here, actually I forgot about this part. Then you can just say continue if you selected the correct time zone. And then here you can insert your name. So mine, I'm just going to call it Netsu. And then I'm gonna say login automatically because I would prefer it to log in automatically. I'm not gonna encrypt my home folder because this doesn't really do much. If you're super concerned about security and you want the maximum security, that's why you literally move to Linux, then I would recommend you encrypt your home folder, but usually it doesn't matter because it's not going to do that much. And you can just say continue. And then it should install the entire thing, which is going to take a while, and I'm going to pause the video because yeah, so once it's done I'll show you how it ended up. Alright, so the installation process is as good as done. Actually it is done. Awesome. So right now you should see the same thing. You can either continue testing or restart. I'm going to restart, and that's what I recommend you do as well. So here it says we should remove the installation medium and press enter. Now since I'm using a virtual machine, it will automatically switch to the right installation part, so I don't have to remove the medium. So I can just press enter, and then it's going to disconnect, and then my virtual machine is going to start up and your computer will boot back up again. Now if you're dual booting, or even sometimes if you don't dual boot, you should get grub. That's where you can choose what you want to boot in. Usually if you just leave it, it will automatically boot into Linux Mint, or you can just choose often the first option and it will take you to the right place. Yeah, my startup is taking very long, but if yours does take quite a while, as long as mine is, like mine took about 5 minutes right now, then you should maybe just consider checking out what's happening. Alright, so yeah, my mouse for some reason still isn't visible. Okay, now this startup dialog is very useful. I recommend you actually go through it. I'm not going to go through it. So yeah, after you've done this, if you're new to Linux Mint, or if you're just new to Linux in general, I would also recommend you just do this. First thing you get Linux is, I'd say sudo apt get update. This basically means update all of the repositories or update all of the applications in the database. And then if you say and sudo apt get upgrade, then this will update all of the applications you have on your computer. So let's say you have an outdated WhatsApp, for example, then it's going to update WhatsApp for you and whatever else is there. And then I'd recommend just go init 6, which means reboot, or not. If you don't want to go init 6, you can just go reboot and just reboot your system. And once you boot back in, everything should be updated and up to date. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed and now know how to install Linux. See you all in the next video.